Did you know that nearly 95% of people consider themselves as self-aware? That's a pretty high number, but according to organizational psychologist Tasha Eurich, who analyzed data from her studies involving thousands of participants, unfortunately, only 10 to 15% are actually self-aware.
Yikes.
Despite many people believing they're self-aware, genuine self-awareness, frankly, is very elusive. The gap between perception and reality highlights the challenges individuals face in accurately understanding their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own behaviors. Take a moment now and ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is most self-aware, how self-aware would you rate yourself when it comes to interpersonal communication? In the comments below, drop your number and, even more importantly, the reasons you have that support your conclusion. So today, I want to share my thoughts on why self-awareness is such an important skill and influence in communication. I'm Bob Bordone. I'm a senior fellow at Harvard Law School. I'm the founder and former director of Harvard's Negotiation and Mediation Clinical Program, and I'm the founder and principal of the Cambridge Negotiation Institute. So, here are 4 key reasons why being self-aware can improve your effectiveness in influence and communication skills. The first reason is increased levels of self-awareness to relate directly to getting better outcomes in negotiation. So there is substantial social science research which has shown that folks who are self-aware, meaning that their own assessment of their strengths and weaknesses matches with how others describe them, end up doing better in negotiation than people whose self-assessment is very dissonant from how others describe them. So let me give you an example. If you are somebody who thinks of yourself as a bad listener, and other people also think of you as a bad listener, you are actually more likely to do well in a negotiation than someone who thinks of themselves as a good listener and everybody thinks of them as a bad listener. That is to say that the more self-aware you are around your own strengths and weaknesses as others describe you, the better your outcomes are likely to be.
I'm aware, pal. I'm well aware.
This just highlights the critical importance of self-awareness in negotiation, communication, and influence. Secondly, being self-aware can help you enormously as you prepare for negotiation. So let me say a little bit more about that. The more you're aware of your own vulnerabilities, your own identity triggers, kind of the kryptonite that gets you, the better you can prepare in advance of a negotiation to have some shields or guards against that. So I know lots of people are watching these videos, so there's a little bit of a risk if I ever actually negotiate with any of you, but I can tell you that one of my vulnerabilities is that I'm very susceptible to somebody who would use a guilt strategy with me. But the way that helps me in a negotiation is if I'm negotiating with someone, let's just say maybe a very close friend or a parent who kind of knows about this kryptonite of guilt, in advance, I can prepare by thinking about what are the kinds of arguments they might put forward that are designed to make me feel guilty, and how can I defend against them. Similarly, I know that one of my identity triggers is that I often get extremely defensive, sometimes angry, when I see an unjustified use of power and authority. But that self-awareness allows me to really interrupt the reaction at the moment it's happening. Almost step out of myself and say, okay, Bob, there goes that unjustified authority response. Rein it back. Let's be more rational. So the more we know about our triggers, the more we know about kind of the kryptonite, the better we are to defend and prepare against it. So third, self-awareness actually helps you calibrate your own style and message. So it turns out, for example, I have all different modes of presenting to groups. And I have a sense of the energy and almost the version of myself that is coming forward depending on the group to which I'm speaking or trying to influence or persuade. So I have these opportunities, for example, to give lectures or talks to big groups of business people or folks working in a New York City law firm. I also get chances to work with churches or small groups around racial or ethnic lines. And being self-aware of the different ways in which I come across allows me to calibrate, to change my tone, to make differences in terms of word choice. I know when I can kind of expand and be big and when I should kind of lean in and listen and draw folks out. That self-awareness is incredibly important as a negotiator, as a communicator, as an influencer. Fourth, when you are self-aware, it actually helps you negotiate better with your own internal voice. So part of the reason why people are less efficacious, less persuasive across the negotiation table is that they haven't actually worked out the different voices inside of their own head. So for example, in a negotiation with your sibling over how to divide the assets upon your parents' death, there may be a side of you that genuinely wants to be kind and generous with your sibling. There may also be a side of you that really feels like the fair answer is you should get A, B, C, and D. The more self-aware you are, the more you can hear both of those voices, actually prepare by negotiating with both of those voices, and then verbalize both voices across the negotiation table.
Voice. Voice? What voice?
Truth be told, self-awareness is not a skill that's typically taught in a negotiation class. But that doesn't mean it's important. And you can improve. The way you do this is by taking time after each negotiation in your own life to do some systematic review. Perhaps it's journal writing. Write down what are the things you did that worked. What are things you could have done but didn't do? And why didn't you do them? And what strategies would you have to be able to do them next time? If you start to do this in a systematic way, you will start to notice behavioral patterns. Those patterns often stretch across a lifetime. They relate to lessons we learned in our family of origin, in our culture, in our school, and all of that increases our self-awareness. The information that increases your self-awareness, that ability to name what is going on for you at any particular moment in a negotiation, is extremely powerful. Another way you can improve your self-awareness is by subscribing to my channel, by liking this video, and by ringing the bell so you never miss the latest in negotiation and conflict resolution tips. Now be sure to keep watching this next video, How to Improve Your Negotiation Skills. I'm Bob Bordone, and thank you so much for watching. Okay, it's not difficult to keep watching. Click, click.